Hello again. Now, 13 suspects linked to the recent arson and vandalism at the University of Fort Hare in the Eastern Cape were released on a warning because they are students. They appeared in the Alice Magistrate's Court today. Their case has been postponed to the 28th of July for further investigation. Let's get the latest now from Ronald Masinda, our reporter who's on the ground tracking this story for us. Good afternoon, Ronald. Welcome to today. So the court case happened. They were all released on warning. I wonder what kind of scenes played out in court. You can tell us that now, and kind of reaction there has been to this ruling.
Well, it was certainly jubilation as the students were out on a warning, Bradan. But just before I unpack some of the events that took place after the court proceedings, we also heard from Magistrate Lovena. When he was concluding the formal bail application, he made reference that all of the 13 were not at flight risk. They were not previously convicted of any crimes, nor did they have any pending cases. He also highlighted that 12 out of the 13 had addresses here in the Eastern Cape, and they were all living in res. You also alluded to the fact that they are students, and for that reason they might not afford to pay bail, as they were also on student loans at the university, and more importantly it is exam time, so that was also considered. Now, this is despite the state arguing that as much as they are not opposing bail for these alleged perpetrators, but they should at least be accountable for at least 1,000 rand bail because of the damage that they caused to the institution, amounting to around 700,000 rand. But the legal representative of the 12 of the 13 accused had this to say following court proceedings.
Well, I think the court got the grasp of what the matter at hand. We are during exam season. Of course, the court was not concerned about proving anybody's guilt. This is bail proceedings. It followed the law and fairly granted a warning to all students, noting that these are students, unemployed, most of them NSFAS students. Things may have gone wrong, but at this stage we are not able to determine who did what and at what stage.
In your view, is the university supportive of the students?
One would want to demarcate that question. What do you mean by that? Is it supportive?
In terms of, are you in communication with them? Has the students felt that they belong to the institution?
I have just been informed that there's a sporadic dispatch of suspension letters. I'm not yet instructed on the merits or the factual basis thereof, but I am told that the students are intending at mounting a legal challenge on the sporadic dispatch of these suspension letters. But we will deal with that as and when it comes.
Just lastly, we next await an appearance on the 28th of July. I'm sure you're hoping that this matter is kicked out of court, given that a lot of these students are still young.
Well, these matters, from experience, do take some time. From experience, we're not necessarily optimistic that it will be kicked out from court next time. It's just a postponement of the matter. The state has to prove its case and line up its witnesses. It's very early stages to comment on that issue.
So they'll all be back in court on the 28th of July, Ronald, as you've reported. But I just want to ask you one more question around these suspension letters. What exactly do you hear is happening? Is the university dishing out suspension letters to the 13? Is that confirmed or not?
Yes, I can confirm this hour that the university will be issuing letters to some of those students. Having spoken to the university shortly before this crossing, they did confirm that some of the alleged perpetrators will go through a disciplinary hearing, and this could also mean that they could be expelled from the institution if found guilty. Now, I have it on good authority as well, Bradan, that the university will also be using surveillance footage as part of its evidence. They say that some of the alleged perpetrators were seen looting at one of the shops at the university's campus in Alice, as well as setting the sports indoor center alight. So this seems to be far from over, Pradan. But having also spoken to some of the parents outside of court, they are concerned because little did they know that their children could be involved in such violent acts. So it remains to be seen as to whether this case or how far this case will unfold. But for now, though, the focus is on these students who some of them have missed at least 2 exam papers. Their focus will now surely be on them completing the exams.
Are those exams continuing normally now that there's no protest on campus?
Yes, so exams are continuing normally. In fact, since Monday exams, when it started, the university had said that they are trying to put contingency plans in place. One of the exam venues, the one that was attacked, the indoor sports center, it was partially set alight with the foyer being destroyed, but we could already see on Monday already where the tables were set for exams to start. We believe that the university has also tried to monitor the situation around. There's been a lot of criticism as well as to how the university has tried to handle the issues on campus. Some of the students have been crying foul with regards to the amount of security detail that has been put in place, heavily armed security guards on campus when we arrived there. But the university is simply saying that it is trying to protect its assets and that only a select few of disgruntled students were part of this destruction that we saw play out on Sunday.
Thank you very much, Ronald Masinda, on the ground there in the Eastern Cape, giving us the latest update about this court case involving a group of students from Fort Hare University. They'll be back in court on the 28th of July. Meanwhile, the university planning to take disciplinary action against the alleged perpetrators of the violence that happened at the weekend, the burning and destruction of some property and allegedly looting of a shop on campus. Meanwhile, the exams are continuing normally.